There were three substances that we used to ingest at Joanne's junk shop at Scarborough Fair. The first was beer, which we drank. The second was marijuana, which we smoked. The third was magic mushrooms, which we ate. The beer and pot we did every day, but the magic mushrooms we only did once during the entire 7-week run of the Renaissance Festival. That was at the last party of the season at Scarborough Fair at Joanne's Junk, the funky formal. The men wore fancy pants and cowboy hats. The women dressed in crinoline and sparkles. There were dance cards. There was a DJ. And there was the ritualistic consumption of psilocybin mushrooms. Mushrooms which had been picked by our friend Gorilla Jim in the woods outside of Waxahachie, Texas, where the Scarborough Fair was located. In fact, our puppeteer friend, Moxie Puppet Dave, had written a song about the field where Gorilla Jim picked the mushrooms. It was called Agarita. Color them blue-green. When I ate the psilocybin mushrooms, the women were more luminously beautiful. The music was crisper and clearer. I could hear every instrument, every note, and the silences between the notes. My thoughts shimmered on the brink of the ultimate revelation, and my spirit giggled closer to enlightenment. The Funky Formal was a great party. I first arrived at Joanne's Junk at Scarborough Fair in the summer of 1983. I was 23 years old, beginning my career on the Renaissance Fair circuit as Niccolo the Gypsy Juggler. I pulled into the Renaissance Fair campsite after dark and I saw a big tin roof and a wooden floor. It was packed with partying people. The first guy to come meet me was a big bearded bear of a guy. Hi-ya-ba-ba-ba, welcome to Joanne's Junk. My name is Big T. He handed me a long-necked Budweiser. Big T was a wood butcher, a chainsaw carver. He was instrumental in building Joanne's Junk along with the rest of the community. It was actually a speakeasy because Scarborough Fair was in a dry county. It was named Joanne's Junk to keep the authorities at bay. Next person I met was a guy about my height, long brown hair and a red beret. Yo, my name's DR. I'm the entertainment director. Come by the trailer tomorrow, I'll hand you a camping pass. He handed me a joint. Behind DR was a petite, strong-looking woman about 5'2", with shiny black hair and smiling green eyes. Hi, I'm Joanne. Welcome to Joanne's Junk. I hear you're a juggler. Yep. I'm a juggler too. Come by tomorrow. We'll pass some pins. Things were looking up for me. My boss had just handed me a joint and I'd met a pretty woman juggler. I was living my dream. Joanne and I got to know each other, we became romantic, and we started a show together called The Niccolo Whimsy Show, with juggling and comedy and merriment. We performed it 5 times a day on a stage at the Court of Whimsy on Saturdays and Sundays. And Monday through Friday, we had what we called our 5-day weekend. It's where the parties happened at Joanne's Junk. Joanne and I climbed the Renaissance Fair corporate ladder, graduating from a pup tent to a dome tent to a pop-up trailer. And by 1990, we were living in a converted school bus. We had arrived. But no matter how much fun you manage to have in life, the uninvited guest, the unexpected accident, eventually makes his appearance. And in the spring of 1990, at the age of 30, after an afternoon of beer drinking at Joanne's Junk, I fell through a step in my bus and severed my Achilles tendon, which required complicated surgery and a long recovery. During this recovery, troubling pains started springing out in different parts of my body, and each of those pains was accompanied by an emotional feeling. I continued my habit of beer drinking and pot smoking back in Brandywine, but it wasn't working as well as it did at Joanne's Junk. There were some subtle signs, for example, the uncontrolled crying at my kitchen table. I made efforts to curb and control my beer drinking, but they were unsuccessful. With the help of therapy and the US Capitol Police, I decided it was time to make a change. And when I returned to Joanne's Junk the following spring, I was attempting not to consume intoxicants. But I was one of the hosts at Joanne's Junk, and it's not easy to be a teetotaler at a speakeasy. I felt like the kid at his own party who wasn't allowed to eat the ice cream. I had a friend, Ranger Rick, who was also trying to quit drinking beer, and he and I formed a little club. We called it Real Cool Guys Who Don't Drink Beer. And we met in my bus, but it was kind of pathetic because there were only two of us. And Ranger Rick insisted on smoking pot at the meetings, which I felt was counter to our mission statement. I spent less time at Joanne's Junk Shop and more time practicing juggling at the Court of Whimsy. But I was looking forward to the funky formal because at least there I could take the mushrooms. Because mushrooms were a sacrament, a tradition, a ritual. They were not part of that whole getting high thing. The night of the funky formal rolled around. Big T waltzed in with his wife, Little T. DR took his place at the DJ stand. Gorilla Jim and Moxie Puppet Dave giggled in with a bag of mushrooms like a couple of middle schoolers. And the bag was passed around. And as I was about to reach my hand in to grab a handful of the magic mushrooms, a phrase popped into my head. It was one I've been thinking a lot about over the past several months. It was something my college girlfriend's roommate had said to her about me when I was about 20 years old. These were her exact words. Nick seems like such a naturally happy person. Why does he have to do so many drugs? I took my hand out of the bag and did not consume any mushrooms that night. A warm breeze flowed under the tin roof of Joanne's Junk Shop. My dance card was full, and I fell in love with every woman that I danced with. The music carried me, and it was a beautiful and perfect night. I always saved the last dance for Joanne. She was wearing a white dress with blue eyeshadow. I looked down at her and I held her in my arms, and DR queued up the song Agarita for the last song. If you open up your eyes, you color them blue-green. Maybe this song was not about magic mushrooms. Maybe it was about the color of your loved one's eyes. On January 22nd, 1994, I made a conscious decision to say goodbye to my three friends: beer, pot, and magic mushrooms. And today I mentor a 25-year-old kid who needs help. I always thought that mornings were my favorite time to smoke pot because it brought a peacefulness to that time of day. Turns out, mornings are a naturally peaceful time of day. I like mornings. I'm a morning person. Who knew? Thank you.